History remembers few names like Alexander the Great. In just over a decade, this young Macedonian king built one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. He was a military genius, a visionary, and a man obsessed with proving his divine heritage. His tactics were studied by Roman generals, admired by Napoleon, and still inspire leaders today. Alexander led from the front, sharing every hardship with his men, and was wounded repeatedly in battle. He pushed himself and his army to the limits, marching from Greece to Egypt, Persia, and into India. But was he truly the greatest general ever? To answer that, we must look beyond the legend. We'll explore the world he was born into, follow his campaigns, and witness his triumphs and doubts. This is the story of a man who sought to conquer the world and nearly did. He died at just 32, but his impact was immense. Alexander didn't just conquer lands, he connected cultures, spreading Greek ideas and art across continents. The Hellenistic world he created shaped the future of Europe, Asia, and Africa. So let's begin. Let's travel back to ancient Macedonia. Let's uncover the story of Alexander the Great, from young prince to legendary conqueror. His life was short, but his legacy endures. He changed the world not just through war, but through the fusion of cultures. His legend still shapes our world today. Join us as we march with Alexander. The journey begins now. Alexander was born in 356 BC in Pella, Macedonia's capital. His father, King Philip II, was a brilliant military leader who transformed Macedonia into Greece's dominant power. His mother, Olympias, claimed descent from Achilles and filled Alexander's mind with dreams of greatness. From childhood, Alexander was trained for leadership, not leisure. Philip hired Aristotle to tutor him, instilling a love of knowledge and curiosity about the world. This education shaped Alexander into more than a warrior, it made him a thinker. One story from his youth stands out, taming the wild horse Bucephalus. While others failed, Alexander noticed the horse feared its shadow. He calmly turned Bucephalus toward the sun and rode him, astonishing all. This act showed his intelligence, patience, and courage, qualities that would define his rule. Philip told him Macedonia was too small for his ambitions. Bucephalus became Alexander's loyal companion in battle. Alexander was not just a prince, he was a leader in the making. He saw solutions where others saw problems. These traits would one day help him conquer an empire. His destiny was set from the start. The world would soon know his name. In 336 BC, Alexander's world changed forever. His father, King Philip, was assassinated at the height of his power. Chaos erupted, and at just 20, Alexander became king. Rivals emerged, but Alexander acted swiftly and ruthlessly, eliminating threats to secure his throne. He had to prove he was as strong as his father. Any weakness could be fatal. News of Philip's death sparked rebellion across Greece. City-states like Thebes and Athens saw a chance to break free. They underestimated Alexander. He marched south with speed, crushing resistance. When Thebes refused to surrender, he destroyed the city, shocking Greece into submission. Alexander had secured his kingdom and silenced his doubters. Now he could pursue his father's dream, the conquest of Persia. His first test as king was a brutal one, but he emerged victorious. The world saw not a boy, but a determined commander. Alexander's legend was just beginning. He had proven his strength to all. The path to empire lay open. He would not hesitate to take it. The age of Alexander had begun. His ambition knew no bounds. The world would soon feel his impact. The march to Persia was next. With Greece under control, Alexander turned east. In 334 BC, he crossed into Asia with 40,000 men, risking everything against the mighty Persian Empire. The Persians, led by King Darius III, seemed unbeatable. Alexander's first test came at the Granicus River. His general, Parmenion, advised caution, but Alexander charged across the river, leading from the front. The battle was fierce. Alexander nearly died, saved only by his officer Clytus. His bold assault shattered the Persian lines. The victory at Granicus opened Asia Minor to him. City after city surrendered, seeing him as a liberator from Persian rule. Alexander's reputation soared. His army's confidence grew with every victory. He was no longer just Philip's son, he was a conqueror in his own right. The legend of Alexander was taking shape. His campaign had only just begun. The world watched in awe. Persia trembled. Alexander pressed on. After Granicus, Alexander marched south, cutting off the Persian navy. Darius III gathered a massive army to stop him at Issus in 333 BC. The narrow battlefield favored Alexander, neutralizing Persian numbers. He led a thunderous cavalry charge straight at Darius. As Alexander closed in, Darius panicked and fled, triggering a Persian collapse. Alexander captured Darius's family and treated them with respect, enhancing his reputation. The victory at Issus was a turning point. Alexander now controlled the Western Persian Empire. But Darius escaped, and the war was not over. Alexander's legend grew with every battle. He had defeated the Persian king himself. The final confrontation still awaited. The world watched as Alexander pressed deeper into Persia. The stakes had never been higher. Instead of chasing Darius, Alexander secured the Mediterranean coast, besieging the island city of Tyre for 7 months. He built a causeway to reach the city, capturing it through sheer determination. In Egypt, he was welcomed as a liberator and crowned pharaoh. He founded Alexandria, destined to become a center of learning and culture. At the Oracle of Siwa, priests hailed him as the son of a god. With Egypt secure, Alexander marched to face Darius at Gaugamela in 331 BC. On an open plain, Alexander's tactics outmaneuvered the Persians. Darius fled once more. The Persian Empire was now Alexander's. He pushed further east, conquering Babylon and Persepolis, then marched into India. At the Hydaspes River, he faced King Porus and war elephants. Despite never facing elephants before, Alexander's tactics won the day. He had reached the edge of the known world. His men, exhausted, had reached their limit. Alexander's ambition was boundless, but his army could go no further. The journey had changed them all. The world was forever altered. Alexander's legend was now global. After defeating King Porus, Alexander wanted to push further east beyond the Ganges. His ambition was limitless, but his men were exhausted after 8 years of campaigning. They had marched thousands of miles, faced deserts, mountains, and unknown enemies. For the first time, his army refused to go on. The mutiny at the Hyphasis River was a turning point. Alexander was furious and tried to persuade them, but their resolve was unbreakable. Realizing he could not force them, Alexander agreed to turn back. He built 12 altars to mark the furthest point of his advance, a monument to his ambition and their journey. The decision was a bitter disappointment for Alexander. He had conquered the Persian Empire, but was stopped by the exhaustion of his own men. The dream of reaching the world's end was over. The return journey would be just as perilous. Alexander's limits had finally been tested. Even the greatest conqueror could not overcome human endurance. The march home began, the legend continued, but the conquest had ended. Alexander's ambition remained, but his men's spirit was spent. The world he created would outlast them all. The return was no simple retreat. Alexander split his forces. Some sailed with Nearchus, while he led the rest through the deadly Gedrosian desert. The march was catastrophic. Relentless heat, starvation, and thirst claimed thousands. Alexander shared his men's suffering, refusing water to show solidarity. After 60 days, the survivors reached Persia, battered but alive. Alexander found corruption among his officials and acted swiftly to restore order. He organized a mass wedding at Susa, marrying Persian noblewomen to his officers, aiming to unite cultures. His mind raced with new plans, conquering Arabia, exploring the Caspian, even campaigns west. He moved his capital to Babylon, ready for the next phase, but fate intervened. In 323 BC, Alexander fell ill in Babylon. His mysterious final days began. The conqueror's journey was nearly over. His empire stood at its greatest extent. The world waited to see what would come next, but Alexander's story was about to end. Alexander's death at 32 remains a mystery. Fever, poison, or something else? He died without naming an heir, and his empire quickly fractured as his generals fought for control. The unity he forged was shattered, but his true legacy was cultural. Greek language, art, and ideas spread across Asia, blending with local traditions to create the Hellenistic world. New cities, like Alexandria, became centers of learning and innovation. Greek became the common language of trade and government. Advances in science, mathematics, and art flourished for centuries. Alexander's military genius inspired leaders from Caesar to Napoleon. His ambition proved that one person could change history. His legend became the standard for greatness. The world he shaped endured long after his empire fell. His story continues to inspire. Alexander the Great's monument is not stone but legend. He changed the world forever. His name will never be forgotten.